Hello, I am so glad that you are with me this morning. I am in my house. I know that you're in yours. Maybe you are surrounded with your siblings. Maybe you're surrounded with your parents, grandparents, or caregivers. Or maybe you're watching this all by yourself, and that's okay too, because we learned that are we ever really fully alone? No, we aren't, because who's with us all the time? God is with us all the time, right? He never leaves us and never forsakes us. Okay, so we're going to get going today. This is an exciting story, and we're going to learn about some really cool named people today. We're reading out of our Bible, our kids' Bible, and let's get going. This is called the Burning Fiery Furnace. Time went on, and the king forgot about the true God. Do you remember the name of the last king? He had a really big name. We're going to get to it right now. And then King Nebuchadnezzar had an idea. I will make a great golden image, 99 feet high. Ooh, that's high. This would be nearly 4 times as high as any ordinary house. Wow, yeah. So this is like a skyscraper, big. I will set it up in the plain of Dura where everyone can come and see it. They will come from all over the countries I have conquered, and when the music plays, all the people will fall down and worship the great golden image I have set up. So the people and officials came from all the lands across the sea to worship Nebuchadnezzar's golden image. So it was an image of him. But the 3 friends of Daniel, do you remember Daniel from last week's message? Now their names were, here are the cool names. You ready? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We don't have a lot of names like that anymore, do we? Okay. They refused to bow down because they knew that there was only one God to whom they should bow. He made the heavens and the earth. They were not going to worship any image, however grand it was. Did you not say, O king, said some of Nebuchadnezzar's wise men, did you not say that if anyone does not bow down and worship your image, that they were to be thrown into the burning fiery furnace? Indeed I did, affirmed the king. Who dares to disobey my orders? When the music starts to play, there are some Jews who do not bow down to your image, O king. Do you think the wise men were being nice, or do you think that they were trying intentionally to get them in trouble? I think they were trying intentionally to get them in trouble. They were being very mean. Send them to me, roared King Nebuchadnezzar. Is it true, he demanded of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that when you hear the music you do not worship and bow down to the golden image I have set up? Next time you hear the music, you bow down to my image, and all will be well with you. But if you do not, you will be straightway thrown into the burning fiery furnace. Then we shall see if there is a God who can rescue you from my hands. Now, didn't we just learn in last week's message that Nebuchadnezzar had really seen and understood that God was the one true God? But he must have not really taken that to heart, because he has definitely lost that perspective in this story. He now thinks that people should be worshiping him. Then answered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, O king, we cannot bow down to your gods, nor to the image you have set up. We worship the God of heaven. If you throw us into the furnace, our God, whom we serve, will deliver us. But even if he does not save us, and I want to show you this picture. So here they are, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And this is King Nebuchadnezzar. And that might be a wise man back there. So even if he does not save us, we will not bow down to the image of gold you have set up. Nebuchadnezzar went into a rage. Heat up the furnace 7 times hotter than usual. Tie them up and throw them in the burning fire. Some of his mighty men then tied up the 3 friends, bundling them in the entrance of the fire, still wearing their coats and turbans, and throwing them into the roaring flames. So hot was the furnace that the soldiers who threw them in were killed by the intense heat. So they didn't actually even go in. It was just the heat that was coming off of the furnace was so intense that it killed them. The 3 brave men fell down in the blazing furnace of fire as Nebuchadnezzar and all his officers watched. As the king looked, he stared in amazement. What did he see? Turning to his officials, he asked, "Was it not 3 men we tied up and threw into the fire?" They answered, "True, O king." "But I can plainly see 4 men. Their binding ropes are untied, and they are walking about in the fire unharmed. And the 4th one is like the son of the gods." What do you think he's talking about? Let's see. Nebuchadnezzar jumped up and came as near as he dared to the entrance of the furnace. He stared in disbelief. How could this happen? The 3 young men had told him that God would save them from the flames, and it looked very much as if God was able to deliver them. What could he do now? He called to them, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out of the flames and come here." Then everyone saw the 3 friends walk out of the fire. The people were astonished as they saw that they were not burnt. Their clothes were not singed, which means that the clothes weren't burnt at all. Nor was there any smell of fire on them. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to go to bonfires, especially in the fall, and I can get pretty stinky from them because the smoke, and so that's not even being in the fire. But they were in the fire, and they weren't burned, they weren't scorched, and they didn't even smell like fire. Nebuchadnezzar and all his governors and officials who were watching crowded around to see if there was any sign of burning on these 3 young men. They saw that not one hair of their heads was singed. None of their clothes were burnt or even smelt of smoke. Then the king made a decree. He said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angels and delivered his servants who trusted him. They were ready to die rather than serve or worship any god except their God. Therefore, I make a decree that no one is to speak against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because there is no other God who can deliver like this." So the 3 friends were promoted to high positions in the province. They continued faithfully to God in the land of the Babylonians. Isn't that a great story of God's protection and deliverance? Now, did you pick up on who the 4th person was that the king saw in the fire? At the very end of the story, it said that God had sent an angel to protect them. So that's who the 4th one was that was shining like the son of a god. All right. Did you practice memorizing your verse from last week? I hope that you did. It is so important that we learn and we memorize verses so that we have them in times when we need them, because sometimes there's not always a Bible available, And also, we need them so that we can have good thoughts running through our head when those bad thoughts like fear and anxiety try to come and run through our heads. We can replace it with those good thoughts, and the best thoughts to replace it with is scripture. So the scripture that we're going to do today is Isaiah 41:10. And let's do a little bit of a review as to how to find scripture in our Bible. So Isaiah is in the Old Testament, which means that it's in the more of the front part of the Bible. And how you're going to find Isaiah is actually split the Bible about in half. And if you're in half, you'll actually probably end up in Psalms, which sounds like it should start with an S, but it actually starts with a P. Don't ask me why. I'm not a phonics teacher. And then if you go to the next book, remember that the books are labeled at the top. If you go to the next book, it'll be Proverbs. And then if you go to the book after Proverbs, you're in Isaiah. So we see right up here that it says Isaiah. And then do you remember how we find the chapter? We need to find chapter 41. And right now we're in chapter 2 because the chapters are these big numbers. So we're going to flip to 41. And you can have help with this. Okay. So chapter 41, and then we need verse 10, which we look for the little numbers. And right there, verse 10. So we're in Isaiah 41:10. And it goes like this. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, which means discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will support you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. And I learned this as a song when I was a kid. And do you know I still sing it sometimes to myself, even to this day? So I'm going to teach it to you. I don't have any music to play, but I can just sing it a cappella, which is singing without any music. So it goes like this. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will support you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. Hey! I have always liked that song. I hope that you have enjoyed the story from today and that you're encouraged that God will always be with you and always help you. You just need to turn to Him. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.